I'm Daniel, the past life regressionist, and it's time to begin.
Lift off and the clock has started.
This is Timeless Spirituality. Enjoy Eternity Time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Time of Spirituality. It is time for a brand new episode, and I want to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way right on top right now. So at this point, I think we're going to be okay, but I have a lot on my plate right now. So just in case the show is going to go on hiatus for a short little while, if it happens, it won't be for at least a month. But if it does, I would highly recommend that everyone goes and subscribes right now, just so you're notified when the next new episode comes out, because just in case the hiatus does take place, I just want to make sure that Timeless Spirituality doesn't get lost in the shuffle. I think everything's going to be okay, but I'm a planner. What can I say? Okay, anyways, this episode was originally recorded with the first batch that I did for the Belief versus Faith series, and it's a goodie. I like this one. It hits dogma in a very substantial way. And I think it's just very thought-provoking in what happens when you see dogma for what it is. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And remember to go check out the Expanse method. So with all that said, if you would like to book a regression with me to discover who, when, and where you have been throughout time, you can reach me on Instagram at The Past Life Regressionist, or you can go ahead and book through my website, thepastliferegressionist.com. And now, it's time to begin. Michelle, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to give this another try because we just had some minor, we'll call them technical issues.
Yes.
Yeah. Because VPNs and cats and YouTube videos.
Gotta love the cats.
And, then me being a perfectionist, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no one needed to know that, but I felt inclined to say it. So we're good. Right. Oh, but I was answering the question, how am I doing? I'm peachy.
That's good.
Okay. So
I'm glad you're peachy.
For the next question I'm going to ask, I already know the answer. So but I'm just going to preface it also by saying, I didn't know the year of the song. I hadn't heard the song before, so I wasn't familiar with it. So now I'm going to hand it over to Michelle. What is your favorite song about time and why?
It's called The Sun Will Come Up, The Seasons Will Change by Nina Nesbitt. I think it's my favorite song about time. One, because I don't really know that many songs about time. But two, it came to me in a time in my life where I felt like I really needed it. Yeah, it's about the artist. She paints a really good picture of how her life has changed and how the one certainty in life is that the seasons will change and the sun will come up. And that's really all we can be certain of. And I found this song during a time in my life. I had lost one of my friends in a car accident. And I was driving home one day and just thinking about him. And the song came on my Spotify playlist. It wasn't a playlist because I had never heard the song, but it was like the shuffle, like some sort of shuffle playlist by Spotify. So, yeah.
And just for authenticity's sake, I'm going to make a comment that I made the last go around because I don't want it to feel too rehearsed. I'm just letting everyone know this is what I said last time. Yeah, I'm okay with restarting everything. It's okay. Because we got this. We got this. Technical issues go bye-bye. So what I brought up last time, and which is what I think I believe it, that your friend may have had a little something to do with that. Just kind of being like, hey, Spotify, pass it off right now. We're going to give Michelle this song. I didn't do the voice last time, but I made the comment. So it's an improvement.
Yeah, I definitely think that is within the realm of possibilities for sure.
And I'd also like to thank your friend for sending you a song that I didn't know. So there's a little shot to my ego, but I'm going to
Mhm.
get over that too. So we're okay. We're okay.
You were a few years off when you guessed last time. You
Yeah,
said
but
2014, but
I didn't know.
you were just kind of
I
throwing a
had no
number out
idea.
there.
I could have said 1942.
Well,
Yeah.
definitely wasn't 1942.
Yeah. Are you ready for the next question?
Yes.
What do you believe in?
It's a big question. So I'm still trying to figure out what I believe in. Going from, I was raised Christian in Texas, Texas born and raised. Just had my awakening in 2020, 2021, and have slowly and gradually released the dogmatic belief system that I was raised with. So over the past 3 years, it's been a slow release of that. So yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still figuring out what I believe in. I think for me right now, a better question is, what do you not believe in? I know for sure some of the things I don't believe in that I was kind of trained to believe in as a child. So yeah, right now I'm just figuring it out.
How does it
Mhm.
feel to say that? You're just trying to figure it out.
It feels kind of freeing. Part of me wants to say scary, but it's not a scary feeling. It's more of a foreign feeling because, for any listeners who were raised Christian, we're kind of told, like, if you don't know what you believe in, then you're not a Christian and you're going to hell. Like, that was the very brutal, honest truth about being raised Christian. If you don't know what you believe in, if you can't defend your beliefs with a gun pointed to your head and be able to, like, say exactly what you believe in, then you're not a true Christian. So, yeah, it feels a little scary knowing that I was raised to believe something very specific and I've, like, slowly let go of that belief. But freeing, scary and freeing.
Do you mind if I ask you a little bit more about that?
Mhm.
What was it like then the first time that you questioned your beliefs? That feeling of, oh, I'm going to go to hell for doing this, but
Mhm.
I'm doing it nonetheless. So, like, what was that like for you?
Yeah. Looking back, I don't wanna say I've always questioned my Christian beliefs, but I kinda have. I don't really remember, like, the first time I had that question in my mind. It's, like, sporadic through my life, like, it's always kind of been there, if that makes sense.
Well, was it when you were a child, or was this something that happened more, as you said, you were going through your awakening?
I think my more true questioning definitely happened in my adulthood. It really started picking up about right when COVID started, like, right when the lockdowns started happening. We were still going to church. Things started locking down in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, March of 2020.
March of 2020. So late 2019, early 2020 is when I started really questioning things, like just little things. Like, I would go to church and the pastor would say something and it would just, like, not feel right. Like, it just would not feel right in my body. And I remember a Bible study group, the leader was talking about how certain people are predestined to basically go to hell or heaven. And that was kind of my moment where I was like, this is not the Christianity that, like, this isn't what I'm resonating with. This doesn't work for me. And then from that moment, lots of little things happened and it just, like, kind of led to a bigger awakening.
Well, what was it about that statement that did it for you?
I think the way it was presented, because I questioned it, a few days later, I went over to their house. We were kind of close to them, and I would go over there sometimes for coffee. And when I went over there, I talked to it was a pastor and his wife. So I talked to the wife, and I told her that that just didn't really, like, I hadn't been taught about that version of Christianity, about predestination. And like her only answer for me was, oh, God's ways are higher than ours. It was like always a deflection and never an actual answer. And it just didn't feel right.
Is it okay if I keep going with this line of
Yeah,
questioning?
totally.
How did you separate the individual from the religion at that point?
Well, the religious belief versus like the own personal belief.
Yeah,
How did I
because,
separate that?
well, you had mentioned that what this pastor had said was not the version of Christianity that you were taught. So,
Yeah.
So how did you, do you know what, like, where was the
Mhm.
separation between the person and the religion at that point?
Yes, I get what you're saying. So I think for me, and I don't want to like sound like I'm throwing my mom under the bus, but I love my mom so much, and she won't be listening to this, so it doesn't matter. But it's not something that I was taught. But after hearing this message from this preacher, I actually called my mom and told her, like, hey, is this what like Christianity believes? Like, is this a common belief system for like what I believe in? And she said yes. And so she like validated what that preacher said. She said that the preacher didn't go about it in the proper way and took some things out of context, but ultimately, like, yeah, she was saying that predestination is a common belief in Christianity. So it's just for some reason, like growing up, that's not something I was very exposed to.
So how did you not chalk it up then just to this one preacher's message that was taken out of context? Because it sounds like this was kind of your catalyst moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think I did start doing a little bit of research on predestination, and it is a foundational belief in Christianity. And I don't know why I was never really taught it, and I'm okay with never had been taught it. But yeah, it definitely was a catalyst.
So it was a feeling, sort of, right?
I know it really was. It was a feeling like also
Do you know
after
what I do
that,
for work?
right. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I know. It's not ridiculous at all that if that's what you were thinking, that it's not. Don't
Hmm.
worry.
Okay. It really was feeling. It was, and another thing with Christianity is you're taught not to trust your feelings. You're taught to trust God and what the Bible says. So I've had this hurdle I've really had to work through, trusting my feelings and intuition.
So I guess to sum it up, I think you may have even mentioned this because the question was, "What do you believe in?"
Oh my God,
You're
yeah.
still kind of sussing that one out.
I'm figuring it out. Yes.
Cool. So who is Michelle?
That's another one I'm figuring out. This is such a lame answer, but I'm me. Like I'm Michelle, and I know I'm beyond that. I'm more than just like this right here, but I'm discovering who I am. And through leaving dogmatic religion, it has opened up a whole world of opportunity and possibilities that I'm just now feeling the freedom to explore. I'm someone that loves nature. I love people. I love helping people. I love animals. I love life. I genuinely love life. I don't find identity in like a job or a degree. And I don't know if I don't find identity in those things because I never finished college and I don't have a job right now. So I just I'm really trying to figure out who I am outside of those things, because society tells us to figure those things out and that's who you are. And like, I don't have those things right now. And so that's not who I am. I'm more than that. And I'm just on a journey figuring out what that is and who I am.
Well, if I had a glass, I would toast to that right now, but my glasses are in the kitchen. So a rose quartz here is going to have to suffice
That's fine.
with a black crystal that I don't know what it is. So clink.
I've got a rose quartz somewhere too. So
I got this selenite. I think that's what it is. I don't know if I want to clink that one because it might flake off, but
yeah, don't clink the selenite.
yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing all that.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. So we're about to talk about the past life portion right now. And I just really want to set the scene for everyone. So your session was in June of 2023. I believe you reached out to me in the spring of 2022, if I remember correctly.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, because you and your husband took a trip that ended up coinciding with the regression. And you guys rented was it an Airbnb or just some kind of
Airbnb?
rental? So you got an Airbnb in a place called Topanga, which is located between the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles and Malibu. So it's this little foresty oasis, not forest, but there are a lot of trees in between a desert and a beach.
Yeah.
It's a really cool canyon, and it's very hippy dippy, but also not too hippy dippy at the same time. Because, yeah, it's just one of those places you got to go to see it. Because there's some really big houses up there that are not hippy dippy, but then it's a very artsy place. So really cool for me to come up to that because most of my sessions are done remotely these days, and also on the way there, there's this donut place I like. So I stopped to get donuts. I remember sending you a message. Hey, do you guys want donuts? And your husband Cameron was down, which automatically gives him 10 gold stars in my book. It's like, oh, he's down for donuts. So this is cool. So I remember bringing him a chocolate donut. It was a miracle that I didn't eat it on the way, but probably would have been very upset. And, as we were talking about before, him and I both share the same sun and moon sign. So it's very good that I didn't eat it because I could just imagine being in that situation and having the expectation of a donut being presented to me and then it doesn't show up. It's okay, but I would have been thinking, but that's neither here nor there right now. So yeah. And you gave the perfect word that I was trying to find earlier to describe the place, which was like a tree house.
Yes.
I couldn't find the words because I was like, there were steps and there was a wood fence. It was like a half thing and another thing. It was like a tree house guest house, which was just so cool.
Yeah, it really was. There was a tree coming out of the deck that the house was like connected to. It was cool.
It was, and yeah, there was the end of a street and there was a little trail there. And oh yeah, I don't think I told you about this. Since the street was really narrow and there really wasn't a turnaround there, I backed up. I kind of went off the side a little bit, and not too much. Like it didn't roll down, but it was like, uh-oh.
It was scary turning around up there. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty nervous.
All I could think about was, how do people do this in the rain?
Yeah.
But we didn't need to worry about that because it was a summer day.
Yes, thankfully.
Yeah, but the weather was perfect up there, though. It was really nice that day.
Yes, much nicer than Oklahoma.
So there were donuts, treehouse, scene set. And I just also want to give a shout out to your husband, Cameron. Well, one, thank you for his service. And
thanks.
by extension, thank you because you are a military wife.
Yes.
So thank you. Because I think that gets overlooked sometimes is it's a joint effort there. It's teamwork. It's not just one person serving. And that goes for all service workers. That came out wrong.
No.
Did I say that right? Is it?
Yeah, no, you're good. You're
okay.
Good.
Yeah. So thank you to all the spouses out there who are with those who are
serving. Yes. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And he likes donuts. So I want to give him a shout out because I thought it was so cool just how supportive he was of the process for you.
Mhm,
Because that's one of the things I frequently hear from a lot of my clients is
mhm.
that they just don't feel that it exists out there, that there are spouses who are supportive of spiritual pursuits. And when I get to meet those spouses or hear about them, I just think it's so cool. So I want to give him a shout out for that. And I just think it is so cool that he's so supportive of you exploring what you're exploring, considering that when you guys met, it wasn't what you're exploring now,
Yeah,
as you
right.
said before. So I think that
Yeah.
that is so cool. And
Yeah, I'm very thankful for that too.
one last quick thing, and then I'm going to shut up and give you the floor because I can't remember if I said this in this recording or the technologically challenged one we had earlier
Okay.
about you guys living in Oklahoma right now and how you're not the first session I've done in Oklahoma, well, or with someone from Oklahoma, but prior to me really jumping in to being a past life regressionist, the thought of someone from Oklahoma doing this would just not be on my radar, really.
Yeah.
But through being a practitioner and being in this world, I've seen that it's everywhere in professions that you wouldn't think, in
Mhm.
locations you wouldn't think. So, I think that also just goes beyond just where you live, and that your husband is also open to these things, because you don't always think someone being in the military would be open even just to the idea,
Yeah.
regardless of how much they dive in. But
Mhm.
because I don't know, for me personally, I always just pictured them to be very shut off from
Mhm.
anything that wasn't, or what that was in that vein. So I think that that's really cool. And I think still it's emblematic of it's out there
Mhm.
in places
Yeah.
that you wouldn't think. So for
Yeah.
everyone out there, I think it's a bad assumption to make, which I'm guilty of, that just because you encounter people in certain professions that you think that they're not open to the same things that
Mhm.
you're open to. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I'm going to shut up now. So I mean, any comment on that, or should we get into the bulk of what everyone's here for? Yeah, you got some. What do you got, Michelle?
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got?
Well, I mean, 3 years ago, it would have been a different story. We both kind of went through an awakening at the same time. So, yeah, he is very supportive, and it's pretty awesome that I have a husband who is open to this, because I do know this is kind of a female-dominated, um
It's okay. I don't take offense to it.
is platform the right word? Like, most of your listeners are probably female, and then in the spiritual world, it's very, like, female-dominated. So it's pretty cool to have a husband who is not only open to it, but is also exploring it himself. So, yeah.
Selenite, rose quartz, clink to Cameron.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So, scene's been set for everyone. Treehouse, June 2023.
Mhm.
Why is it you wanted to have a past life regression?
Curiosity is one for sure. I think most people, that is part of it, is just curious. But also, just I had gone through a lot of transition since 2020. My husband and I moved from North Carolina to Alaska, and on our way to Alaska, everything was like shut down, like because of COVID. So we were moving in the middle of a pandemic, and it was election time. So yeah, election time was happening. Got to Alaska. It's really hard to make friends, and then a lot happened. My dad got sick, and actually passed away in 2021. And then Cameron started the process of getting out of the military. He started the process earlier than what he wanted, for some personal reasons, and then we decided to move to Oklahoma. So just a lot happened in like a very short amount of time. And then obviously through this, I did have my awakening and leaving religion. And so having the freedom to explore things outside of Christianity is what really piqued my curiosity.
So what came up for you?
Should I do like in order or does it matter?
Whatever's coming up for you.
Okay.
I'm only rigid when it comes to donuts.
So the first regression that you brought me into, I was in a cave. I thought it was a cave at first. And then after looking around, it felt more like a hole because I would look up and the only exit I could see was up, like a hole above me. And I felt like I had fallen in. I felt a lot of panic. And then I felt everything around me was like going black, like I was blacking out or something. And I remember looking for a way out. I was crawling. And then I remember you'd asked for time to condense. And I went from what I thought was like a hole or a cave, I went from that to seeing a spring. Like I was surrounded by trees and some rocks, and there was water coming out, like a spring water. And I remember feeling excited. And I remember in the regression, it's like is this is this normal for people to like I was regressed, but I also had like a little bit of like my consciousness was like trying to rationalize and make logical sense of what was happening. Is that normal? Do people have that experience sometimes?
Yeah, it's always what I ask people not to do, but
I know. I was trying not to, but like my logical brain was definitely still active.
well, I mean, without giving too much away,
Mhm.
I remember being kind of shocked for the reason that you were in there and the circumstances that led to your exit.
Uh-huh.
So it's, even though it's not necessarily what I want people to do when they're in that space, because thinking is like the worst thing you can do. But it just seemed so not 2023 what society would do right now type of thing. So I get it. I get why. Yeah, it was probably unnecessary for me to come in. But what you got, Michelle?
No, I was gonna say like it felt very ancient. I do believe it was like here. I don't think it was like off in another galaxy or anything. It
It felt very much like Earth.
Yeah, it was very much so Earth. It just felt very, very, very old and ancient. Yeah, so I was in the hole, and then I transitioned to spring water, and then I got excited. So in the hole, I was panicking. When I found the spring water, I was excited. And my logical brain was like, okay, how did I get from the hole to the spring water? But I did put that aside, thankfully. And so then from the spring, I started walking to a village. So the scene kind of transitioned from lush forest water to desert. And I could see people in the distance. And I knew that I was like approaching my village. And I walked through the village into a building that was made of mud. And I was covered in mud. Obviously, I was digging through mud, but I entered the building and there was a man there. I don't know if he was a king or what, but he was the leader of the village and he was surrounded by other people that were also leaders. And I told him that I had found water and he was pleased with me and the fact that I had found the spring water. And I remember feeling like that saved my life. Like finding that water is what saved my life. I would have been executed if I hadn't been able to complete that mission or something. But I don't know how to like transition into what I found out why I was on that little journey.
Because the clarification came up with the higher self, right?
I think so.
Say we can talk about that part now, because this is where the
Okay.
justice system doesn't work the same way now as it did back then. So
Yeah.
why was it that you were in that hole and then out in the desert?
So originally I felt like I had fallen in that hole because like my logical brain was like, why would I be in this hole? Like surely I would have just fallen. So the higher self revealed to me that I was placed there and it was a punishment. And basically the way that system worked, whatever village I lived in, I was able to earn my place back in the village by proving my worth and my value. I had murdered 2 people, and the reason I was given an opportunity to come back and live there was because they were understanding that the murder took place due to a misunderstanding, and I was actually trying to protect my child, and those who I murdered were actually it was like a misunderstanding, basically. I murdered the wrong people. Mhm.
And then you were let off the hook because you found water.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
from what I gathered, the village needed a resource. They didn't have
Mhm.
anyone to find that resource. It was too dangerous to find that resource. So because I was the one that fucked up, I was the one that was kind of the sacrificial lamb. Like, you go find it. If you die in the journey, then it's okay because, yeah.
So, with regards to the process there also, because you mentioned it was like your thinking mind. It's like, how did I go from being in this hole to the water?
Hmm.
When you were in the hole and when I did the condensing time to see how you got out of the hole,
Hmm.
it was because as a practitioner realizing she's in a hole right now. We're not getting any information as to why she's in the hole. And this just isn't going anywhere. So that's why, like, okay, so let's condense time to see how it is this is resolved. And
Hmm.
but then I run the risk as a practitioner at that point of then doing what happened, which is then you feel like, wow, how did I get out?
How to get out?
Like, so it's weighing in that
Mhm.
moment. It's like, okay, we could be stuck in this hole for the next 45 minutes. Just,
Mhm.
have this person be playing footsie with themselves, or we can,
Move on.
yeah. So, oops. Yeah. Well, not fully, but it's like, yeah.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I'm glad we got you out of the hole and then we got the clarity later on. Cause I remember you even saying at the time, I want to know more about
Mhm.
this. I said, okay, we're going to get, it's going to come later. We're going to get more clarity
Yeah.
this later.
Yes,
And
I remember
yeah.
that. Yeah, I thought it was weird that like in the hole I was blacking out, and I was wondering like okay, is it falling in on me or am I like disassociating? I don't know. I was like, do you have insight on that? Why I started to like black out in that part of the regression? Not I wasn't blacking out, but what I was seeing was like going black.
The only thing that I can guess for that
Hmm.
one is black usually comes in when there's too much interference, like conscious interference.
Oh, well, that would make sense because
Could have been something else though. It could have just been night setting in.
Yeah, I mean, it felt more like my logical brain was making it kind of shut down.
Yeah, I think that there's always even on the extreme end of maybe they did start to bury you, but then the chief was like, hold up,
Yeah,
we're going to
wait.
send them. Like, we need a sacrificial lambs to go out there and find water right now. So before we bury it, let's. Yeah, my guess is probably just too much thinking.
Okay,
But like I said, there's many things that could have been. So
cool.
but you got out.
Yeah,
And you
I
found
did.
water, and you ended up saving the day.
After I killed 2 people.
Yeah, like you said, it was a miscommunication. So not that absolves, but come on, people, let's just talk things through. Let's figure out everything. And Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was then. This is now. You wouldn't do that
Mhm.
now in this life.
Yeah. So my next one was pretty, I mean, they're all cool, but I saw a windmill and a log cabin, green hills, a wheat field. I was wearing leather boots. I could tell I was male. And I was wearing pants, a leather belt, and a tucked in shirt. And I remember laughing in my regression whenever I like saw this part. I was chewing on a piece of straw. I remember there was just a sense of pride while I was looking at my house and the land. And then a woman came to me in a white dress, and her name was Margaret. And I knew that I was going to marry her. And I believe it was like the day that I was experiencing was the day that we were going to get married. And then she said something to me. She said that she was sorry for the way things ended up. And then I saw my log cabin on fire. And I saw my log cabin on fire. And I remember running to the cabin and opening the door and finding or seeing Margaret laying on the bed. I remember going to her and getting in bed with her and choosing to like die with her. I knew she was already dead. You didn't know that she was already dead though. So you were very confused. And we talked about it later, but you're like, why didn't you grab her and get her out of the burning building and try to revive her? In the regression, I knew she was already dead. And I knew that because I had so much pride in my home and I had just married Margaret. And also, I knew me and Margaret grew up together. We were like best friends growing up. And so in that moment, I had lost everything that I knew and loved. And so I chose in that moment to also leave Earth because it's so weird how you can like in the regression, I knew all of this, but no one was telling me like, oh, this is why you decided to lay in bed with Margaret. Like I just knew my thought processing while I was walking through that door. Like I knew in the moment, Margaret's gone. I have nothing else to live for, and I'm going to die with her because there's nothing else for me here. And that was that life. And we found out that in that life, Margaret was Cameron, or it is Cameron. I don't know how to say that, but who Margaret's soul in that life is Cameron's soul in this life. And my life, my soul in that life is me in this life. So that was really cool.
Little switcheroo there.
Yeah.
Because we're like, I want to be the wife this time. So I'm going to be the husband this time.
You know, it's crazy because also, like, I've always had this fear of fire. I've had this, and I have this little, like, distrust with Cameron, like, little things that don't matter. Like lighting a match. I'm like, oh my God, like, be careful. Like, what are you doing? There's paper there. So it's like, I'm like, oh man, is that like remnants of that life showing up in this life? Yeah, like silly things. I get like very, I don't know.
Most likely.
Probably makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's like just based off of what you saw. Granted, I don't think we discovered how the fire started, but Margaret was in bed. So there's at least a suggestion that Margaret was in the house when that happened.
It was a candle.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was yeah. But that's probably where it's coming from.
Candle or like a lantern or something. I remember like later it coming to me that those two things were connected. Like my fear of the house burning down from like something mundane like a candle.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Just trying to think of people like just stretching it out to, why am I so pissed off at my husband for not doing the laundry or, something like it's probably something past life related. Well, I don't know. Maybe if someone died with a clothes rack or something or
who knows?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely feels connected.
Happy ending though.
Well, I mean, we
Well, not in
died.
that life, but that you guys found each other in this life. It could have ended better in that life. We'll put it that way.
Yes. Happy, hopefully happy ending in this life. I mean, you never know.
Well, it's the poetic nature of it all. We don't know what your beliefs were in that life. We don't know
Mhm.
if you believed in an afterlife or if you believed in reincarnation or just simply that when you die, you die. It could have been
Mhm.
anything or something we can't even comprehend at this point.
Mhm.
But in that life, you saw your spouse who you had been with from a very young age who passed away in bed, and you made the choice to get into that bed, not
Mhm.
necessarily knowing what the outcome would be. That
Mhm.
because you may have very well believed this is it. I'm never going to see this person again.
Mhm.
So to me, like the poetry comes in of you found each other again. Granted, she's a dude in this life and he's a lady in this life, but
Yeah.
your souls found each other again. And to me, that's what's
Mhm.
beautiful. It's the tapestry of all of it and the totality
Mhm.
of the whole picture that, yeah, because let's just call a spade a spade. That sucks to go in a fire. But
Mhm.
it's beautiful that you guys found each other in this life. And as you told me, earlier and before that, you guys went to high school together, but
Mhm.
you didn't start dating until after high school. So it's like you
Mhm.
exchanged glances,
Mhm.
not knowing that
Mhm.
you two were married in a past life. And so it's
Yeah.
like you never know who you're passing by in
Yeah.
everyday life, someone that you could have had a connection with in one way or another. So I just that's what's beautiful about it to me.
I agree. It is a pretty cool thought.
For anyone listening to this right now, I wouldn't recommend hinging your actions on a belief because I don't want anyone listening to the podcast right now be like, oh, well, Michelle and Cameron found each other again. So for whatever reason, if I find myself in a situation, I'm just going to jump off a cliff because then I will find X,
My
Y, or Z.
love.
Yeah, in a future incarnation.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Yeah. It's okay. We're operating from a belief right now.
Yeah.
So what else came up for you?
I think the last one that came up was this one for some reason. I mean, they're all unexpected, but for some reason, this one really got me. Really, like, was not something I expected at all to experience. So I was on a ship and I was at the front of the ship. Could see the front of the ship, and that's all I could see was the front of the ship and the ocean. And I remember feeling male, and I remember being young, and you asked me to look at my skin, and I looked, and I had black skin. I was from Africa, but I was wearing a long sleeve shirt with ruffles around the wrist. I don't know why that confused me, but that just didn't seem like like 8-year-old African child wearing a white ruffled shirt. Just didn't, again, my logical brain was like, that doesn't fit. Like, what? That doesn't make sense to me. So I remember going below deck to my family, and I remember seeing everyone that was below deck was African and in chains. And then I went to go sit down next to who was my mom in that life. I went to go sit down next to my mom, and I sat down next to her. I wasn't chained, and I kind of came to the realization that the reason I wasn't chained is because I was an 8-year-old boy and I was not seen as a threat to the people above deck. And I remember feeling, and we talked about this too after the regression. I was feeling excited, but obviously that was nothing to be excited about. But I realized that my excitement came not from anything other than I was a child and I didn't know what was happening to me and where I was going. And in my child mind, I was on an adventure. And then I remember my mom in that life was explaining to me what was happening. And after she explained everything, I remember just feeling this sense of defeat, and everything just got really grim and dark and heavy. And a man came down the stairs from above deck. He was a white guy, and he was fat. I remember distinctly. I'm like, oh, that's a fat white guy. Like, and I remember being very afraid because I knew that I wasn't supposed to be above deck. And that's why I ran below deck really quickly, because I knew that they were like coming out to find me or something. But yeah, I remember that and feeling really scared after my mom explained to me what was going on. And then he left. He left after he made sure everyone was in their place. And I remember you asked me something to ask my mom. I can't remember what it was, but and the answer I got from her was, she said that, oh, this is when she explained to me what was going on. We had been taken from our home and we were going to be sold. And that's when the truth of what was going on settled in, and I got very defeated feeling. And then I remember details like my mom's left ankle was chained. I remember feeling like I really wanted to help and do something about it. And like I knew like, oh, I'm not chained, so there's got to be something I can do. And then you took me into like a visualization of myself in this life next to me in that life. So 8-year-old little boy in that life. And we had bolt cutters.
Where'd those come from?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you had me visualize me in that life with me in that. I don't know how to word that, but I was there in the ship. Michelle here was there in the ship. And we were both holding bolt cutters, and we just went through below deck and just unchained everyone. We went in a clockwise. It's like, do all those little details matter? Like the clockwise, like why do I remember specifically going clockwise? Why do I specifically remember the left ankle of my mother being chained? I like start to read into all these little details, like, oh, what does that mean? Like, what is the deeper meaning behind all those little details that pop up? But yeah, so we started cutting the chains from everyone, and the Michelle, me in that life, was doing it very like calmly and quickly. But the little 8-year-old me in that life, like every time I like cut someone's chains, I was like super excited. I was like jumping up and down, and I felt like free. So once we got through cutting the chains of everyone, you had us in the visualization, you had us walk up the stairs and onto the upper deck, and everyone that we had
up.
Yeah. Everyone.
Sorry.
It's okay. It was shock. Like it like brought up a lot of like weird feelings. Like I felt very shaky, and I was crying in this regression. I cried in the last regression too, or the last life that you took me into. But I was crying during all this. So I walked upstairs, me and Michelle, me, and little me walked up the stairs, and then everyone that we had just unchained also walked up the stairs and got on the perimeter of the ship holding our chains. And like all the slave traders, all the Europeans, white people, I don't know where they were from, they were there, and they were like shocked. And I could see their faces, like their jaws dropped. And obviously they didn't know how we did that. And then Michelle, me, got up to like the top part of the ship where you steer, and I kind of gave a little speech, and everyone that was going to be sold threw their chains overboard. And I basically asked, I don't remember how I worded it, but do you remember how I worded it at all?
Was it the forgiveness part at this point, or was it?
It was the speech part that I was giving.
If I remember correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong on this. Because at this point, this isn't what happened. It was first leading you through what happened. Mm-hmm. And then it's like identifying, okay, well, their power was taken away. Mm-hmm. So how do we unlock what had been taken, through the journey of the superconscious? Mm-hmm. And I think for this one, it was instilling fear into them, but showing them mercy ultimately. Mm-hmm. Was that the way it was? It's like not yelling at them or screaming at them, if I remember correctly, for this one. It was.
I don't remember anyone doing anything other than listening to what I had to say. Mm-hmm. And then them like afterwards, the white people just kind of being like, I remember I said something like, you're only doing this because you're told to do this. Like, this is
Mhm.
not, like, I basically was relaying the message, like, this is not your true, genuine desire. Your
Mhm.
true, genuine desire is not to sell other human beings. It is for all of us to work together. And I remember there being some sort of resonance. Like they were like, oh yeah, we don't have to do that. But then I don't really remember what happened after that.
I don't remember exactly for that one, but also my train of thought there is as more time goes on, I'm believing less and less that time is linear and
Mm-hmm.
that it is
For
something
sure.
that we can't comprehend. So it is twofold in that moment. It's reclaiming the power that you lost in that life, just as that child, jumping
Mm-hmm.
up and down when everyone was freed. Because yes, that's not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we know what happens in this process and what doesn't happen? It's my belief that there's a possibility that we are splitting something off at that point and shifting things for all parties involved.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you reclaiming your power and then hopefully helping those men in the decisions that they made in that life and
Mm-hmm.
having them choose a different path. So maybe it has an outcome in their lives in the here and now that they may
Mm-hmm.
not be able to articulate or comprehend, but something may shift inside of them that
Mm-hmm.
they're not aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't remember exactly what happened, when all was said and done, what happened, but I just remember being about you standing up and looking down at them
Mm-hmm.
and saying what you needed to say, but ultimately showing them mercy. Just that I'm
Yes.
not going to lower myself to your level and I'm not going to put
Yes.
you in chains
Yeah. That's
to keep the
yes.
cycle going in that
Mm-hmm.
respect and be like, no, I'm cutting the chains for all of us right now.
Yep. That. Mm-hmm. And then after that is when I did the little I forgive, I release, I let you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I did that part. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a very like that one felt bigger than me. That life that you regressed me into felt bigger than just like looking at an experience that's related to my personal life now. It felt bigger than that, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Was that the last one that came up for you or was there another one?
That was the last life that came up for me. Yeah.
It's amazing how the higher self orders those and as that would be the last one.
Yeah,
So what came up for you with the higher self?
quite a few things. So you asked the higher self about my life purpose, and creative expression came through, and the word embodying came up a lot, but I was having a hard time figuring out what to embody. And also stop worrying about what everyone thinks. That came up a lot in the higher self
Yeah,
talk.
because people are stupid.
Yeah, like why would I care what anyone thinks? No, it kind of consumes me sometimes.
No.
Um,
Get out of here.
it's pretty annoying. But creative expression really, really came up a lot. And so I had asked my higher self. So I don't know how to explain it. Like I wrote before I was in regression, I wrote out my questions that I wanted you to ask my higher self. So you were asking my higher self these questions while I was regressed. One of the questions I had wrote down was, where does the anxiety and depression come from? Because I do experience like waves of anxiety and depression. And I was on medication for years and just recently decided that I no longer wanted to be on pharmaceuticals. So when you asked that question to my higher self, what came up was putting energy into creation, and energy that gets pent up inside of me has a hard time expressing itself because I'm not expressing myself. So it shows up in anxiety and depressive waves. So moving my body more and doing detoxes and cutting out sugar. I thought it was kind of funny that my higher self said I needed to cut back on sugar. I didn't get a donut that morning, even though you asked if I wanted one. I was like, no. But that was before. That was before
It's like you already knew what was coming.
Yeah, I already knew what I shouldn't be doing. And I kind of got the message that like the anxiety and depression that I do experience at times is going to fade over time as long as I incorporate these practices like moving more, meditation, eating more clean, and focusing on my liver. My liver came up, detoxing my liver. I'm actually starting a detox October 1st.
Cheers.
Yep. Yeah.
So all in all, what was the most profound part of the experience for you?
I think the life that I was shown with me and Cameron, or me and Margaret. I don't know what my name was in that life. Um,
Hans.
Hans. I don't think so.
Or Claude.
Yeah. I know John came to me, but that's like a super like that probably just came to me because it's
Jean-Claude.
No. It did feel well, I mean, I did remember the pants that I was wearing were jeans, and I looked up when jeans were invented. It was the 1800s. I was like trying to figure out. Even I told Cameron about it too, of course, and he was like looking up Margaret House Fire 1800. I was like, stop. It's not gonna be there. But yeah, that was funny because he got really into it after I told him that whole experience. But yeah, I think that one was very profound to me just because, like, I knew in that moment when I saw Margaret, I knew it was Cameron. Like, I knew it was Cameron's soul. So just how familiar a soul can be without having the like distinct, like, oh, Margaret didn't look like the Cameron here. It was just like I recognized the soul in Margaret as the soul in Cameron. And that was really, really cool to me, having that instant recognition.
You know, even for me as a practitioner sitting right there with you at that moment, like that was just a beautiful moment to see the smile on your face. And in hearing you describe Margaret first, and then me meeting Cameron prior to that, it's not how he looks now.
No.
So yeah, that was a really cool moment.
Mhm.
So I'm happy you guys found each other again. I think
Me
that's so beautiful.
Yeah. It's funny too, because like he messaged me after high school, a few years after high school, and I ignored his message. I was like, no. And then like a year or two later, he messaged me again, and then I responded. So it was funny to see how like it's almost like he was ready to like reconnect, but for some reason there was something going on in my life at that time where I just wasn't ready. And like the universe opened an opportunity for me to, reconnect with him again, even though I had ignored him the first time.
I guess timing is everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So that specific experience was profound, but they were all.
Is it okay if I ask you a question and put you on the spot a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel after doing this interview right now? Because when we started, you were saying to me, oh, like my heart is racing. So how are you feeling after this?
I'm feeling much better for sure. I don't have any like very obvious nervous anxiety feelings. Definitely feeling more relaxed. And yeah, I just definitely feel better. Feel like I could talk about whatever right now.
So if we were to record again tomorrow, how do you anticipate, which, well, I mean, we're not going to because this was great. Right. And also I have another interview I'm doing tomorrow. How do you feel you would feel going into that after doing this today?
I think I learned some things about this. So how I would feel, to answer your question, I would feel more confident and I would feel more relaxed and I would do things a little differently. Probably not take like 6 pages of notes and just show up. Show up. Yeah. And I actually do think this is something I could get into and have fun with. Yeah. Because creative self-expression, when I think of creative self-expression, I think of like painting and drawing. And that's not like I'm good at it. I took art classes and was always good at whatever medium I chose to express myself in. But it's just not like the hands part. Like I like talking. I do like talking, even though I do have anxiety that comes along with it. In general, I really enjoy conversation and I love like conversation that can get deep.
Well, you
Yeah.
did great.
Thanks.
So with that said, any final thoughts for everyone?
I'm sure there's something. This did just come to me, and maybe it's just because it's something I need to hear and remember, but don't get so caught up in your head and so caught up in what others may expect from you or want from you, or like it just doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And that's something I'm learning. And it is kind of a hard lesson to learn when you grew up caring so much. And also, I am Libra, Sun, and Moon, and I've got a lot of air in my chart, and I can get really heady. And so there's that. But yeah.
Well, you did great. And fuck you, Libra, Sun, and Moon. Not that I have anything against those placements, but the lower expressions, like I have something against all of the lower expressions.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that can be difficult for someone who, because there's people listening. So
Yeah.
you did great.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that we did this for sure.
Ditto. And those are good donuts. I'm glad you guys came out, because I wouldn't have got donuts that morning had it not been for you guys getting the place in Topanga. Because the place was on the way, and I also just don't, because I'd be eating donuts every day but I was like, it's a special occasion.
Special occasion. 2 tourist guys who wanted some donuts.
Yeah. So the universe truly works in mysterious ways, because I had no idea about the Taurus correlation there, but oh boy, do I understand that now. I was totally speaking to that Taurus Sun and Moon.
Are you Taurus Sun and Moon too, or just Sun?
Yeah, Sun and Moon.
Oh, Sun and Moon, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Lots of stuck energy sometimes.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Working on that, not so much. Because it's not like I have a fixed rising sign either or anything like that. I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What's your rising sign?
Aquarius.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know you've talked about it before, but I couldn't
4
remember.
placements in Taurus. I have a lot of fixed energy in my chart.
I need some fixed energy. Oh, well, that's probably why me and Cameron do so well, because we balance each other out pretty well.
It's a good balancing act. The song and dance of the zodiac.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing my awakening led me to, was astrology, and I love it.
That's
Still
such a
learning.
cool system.
It is.
So yeah, just thank you so much for coming on today. And where can everyone reach you?
Well, I have Instagram. I don't really post much, but if you want to find me, especially if you're in Oklahoma and you want a fellow Bible Belt person to talk to, it is I am Michelle KM.
Well, yeah, just thank you again for coming on and for just talking and doing a great job. Because I admire you facing the anxiety that came along with that. I think that's great. So I hope that you just walk away only feeling proud of yourself. As
thank you.
You did a great job. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Fellow time travelers, your journey through time awaits you. Just want to thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. And if you're interested in discovering who, when, and where you have been throughout time, and you'd like to book a session with me, just go ahead and send me a message on Instagram at The Past Life Regressionist, or you can reach me through my website, yourpastliferegressionist.com.